get into our mental. Sorry. Okay. So now we'll get into our Wellness Day Part 2. So community workers and chaplain, do you guys want to introduce yourselves before we start?
Yeah, I'm Sarah. I'm the social worker in the ER. I've been at UCI for about 7 years now. I have a lot of experience with mental health and the topics we're going to talk about. So happy to be here.
My name is Carmen Patterson. I'm the inpatient palliative care social worker. I've been at UCI for 15 years. I started here as a student intern for my master's, and then I went into as a per diem and then trauma social worker. I did that working in the ED and then the SICU. I did that for 6 years, and then it's palliative care and my expertise is in, death, dying, grief, loss, and all of those things, and then how to deal with it in an inpatient setting.
Well, I'm Rocky Allen. I'm one of the chaplains at UCI. I've been at UCI almost 2.5 years now. Right now, the units I serve are surgical ICU and the cancer center. And I've been moving more into the cancers world here in the past 1.5 years. Also work with Sarah and Carmen in both spaces in the ED and in palliative. Some of our patients serving them. Prior to becoming a chaplain, I came from the air medical world. I used to be air medical helicopter pilot, and I worked with air medical critical care flight nurse and flight medics. And so as I transitioned into a different career track here, somehow I ended up back in the emergency medical. And so I've been UCI now 2.5 years. Nice to meet you all.
Okay, fantastic. So thank you so much for taking the time to be here. Thank you all my MRFers who came in for taking the job from the CI. Marco, do you want to explain the questions and stuff?
So, yeah, we made a couple of questions, guiding questions for everyone to possibly indulge in, but we're also very open to having our leaders here today guide the discussions. But the questions we have are kind of in 3 different parts. We have some kind of warm-up questions just to better understand and better reflect on their experiences within the emergency department. And so this is just an opportunity for you guys to just think a little bit about the times that you've had in the emergency department, the moments that may have stuck out to you, and just to really consider those a little bit more thoughtfully and think about it, really. The second portion is more developing about what Dr. Barra really discussed last week, which was a lot of debriefing and a lot of self-reflection in this process of almost grieving for many of the situations that we've experienced. And so these are some of the more deeper questions that we've kind of developed. But ultimately, the last set of questions is what's next moving forward? How will we build camaraderie? How will we build resilience in these kinds of capacities in our emergency department settings? And so those are the questions. We'll go ahead and get started with the first set of questions. But again, more than happy for our staff to go ahead and lead the discussions. We'll give this about 10 minutes or so.
And then we'll rotate 10 minutes through each guided question set.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys. Really appreciate it.
Please introduce yourselves. I would like to know.
You did it.
Young Honeybee.
William?
I think what's really hard in the ED, sorry, I also worked in the medical ICU as well for 5 years prior to getting in the ER, and I think in the ER we just build rapport with patients.
It's also healthy.
So this is very an open forum, and it's really up to you guys of how you want to.
So I guess we're going to start with the guiding question.
We'll start with also the questions.
Questions for this, and so
You're welcome
I
to ask.
think as much as I've had experience with death and dying, COVID, hospice, all those different
Especially dealt especially with unexpected deaths. You guys have any loss? When I started, we had pediatric patients. But after this, I was the pediatric patient now.
I mean, I think something that emergency department often is
But I've done very unexpected, and then really.
it isn't natural. I love to talk, I love
With the families
to
as
be there with people, but sometimes I've found the emergency department.
been dealing with the bad news
Dealing
in the hospital.
But when I'm experiencing a patient and I'm throwing a curveball, I don't know
Very
the
considerate,
right
but
words to say.
I
I'm
think
really curious from your perspective as a support worker.
but also it's how much
You
you're willing to
navigating a conversation looks like for you in these kinds of
learn.
situations.
Learning experience.
That's a really good point. Glad you brought that up. I think sometimes it's what we say, it's just in there, and I think sometimes like when we're in situations where you want to say.
So I guess what's something you didn't expect to feel in the ER?
Conversation, I think, you tell the mom that just lost her. You know what I mean? Like, there's not anything like.
So should we go around and share? Is there something that?
Hard thing, and I found that being there and just like presence.
Start
I
with
don't know, you build like that relationship, like.
So I was also expecting sometimes it's
Cry and so.
You can use it as a name
So-
tag.
expecting it's more like I'm expecting to see
One
everything.
thing,
And it's just like
you know, patience would be a thing, but
I
I think that's
feel like
one of the main things that I've learned.
You're thinking like I'm being helpful, sometimes.
I mean,
I've had parents
And you
before,
never know
like,
what's
scream at me.
never know.
Do you have kids? Have you ever been through this? How do you know what I'm going through? You know, so.
really
You wouldn't understand
Hard for me at
that
first.
there, you have to, I've learned this, I'm just trying to learn the hard way too. I have to do whatever my two are
Sometimes it
out the door. Because whatever is in front of me, that's
It's
what
definitely a valid thing that you're
And I have to be present, I have to be aware and just deal with whatever.
With that.
especially within
Into
it's a skill I've really been trying to hone and develop
also
even in
fully,
such a
my
fast
full
paced
presence, my whole body language with, you
not feeling in
know,
tune with myself even, you know.
and also just
Something I've just struggled with in the merge department and even in life.
with
It's definitely something that I'm
because
trying
what
to.
I've learned too is people
Yeah.
can read you like no other,
I
especially.
think sometimes too, people think like when we would go to meetings or difficult cases, people would already have like tissues and already like setting up, you know, how someone should feel. And sometimes if they're not crying and they're not reacting in the way, people are like, okay, what's wrong? Are you
Static and you're just screaming.
screaming, wailing? Everyone reacts to different. I've seen so many different reactions.
See how this is affecting you. Never
just
say,
refocusing
I
on
understand.
that. Like the best thing
That
you
is
can
the
do
worst
is like
thing
the research
you
is
can
all
say to
I guess,
anyone
like, in our
going
careers.
through a crisis.
I don't necessarily think it's like
Because we don't.
syndrome, but like
We may have experienced
feel like
similar
I'm
situations.
like trying to comfort someone.
Their
when I'm talking to
experience.
them, and I like know all this information about them, like I can read their chart and like see notes about them, and, like
Your
remember
main
to
goal
ask
is to like
questions as I'm talking to them. But like they don't know anything about me, so it's like I feel like who are you? Like sometimes I feel like a little uneasy a little bit because like you're having like these like tough conversations
In whatever situation that you may.
with different patients, and then you're not sharing anything about yourself, which I understand why we aren't sharing information about ourselves, but sometimes I feel like for me, I feel like a little like disconnected from
Society
them.
sometimes it just be like this.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that's such a valid point because I think like in any human like relationships, interactions, we're so used to like a give and take, right? And so you're kind of like, who am I? This like random person that comes in at your most like vulnerable point in life, and I'm supposed to like be this supportive person, you know, and you don't know me. They're just like, who are you, you know? And so I think very valid. And I think also I've learned with like just time, experience, and skill that like sometimes your presence and just how you like I had to build that skill a little bit of just understanding it's an uncomfortable dynamic, and so I meet them where they're at within like an appropriate measure, like your space. So like, you know, grieving and stuff, and they're like, have you ever lost someone? Then I feel like it's appropriate to be like, I have, but I'm here to support you, and you know, let's talk about you. But I think it's okay to like relate in certain situations with like appropriate boundaries. But I think listening to them, and I think whatever, like, can you share if it's a death visit? Say, like, can you share with me something significant about your loved one that just died? The person were they? And I feel like I can connect in different ways in sharing myself, if that makes sense.
Fresh air.
I'm like, I hope I'm making sense. It's like so hard to articulate sometimes like what we do because we do it every day. And so
And you can say, this is difficult because people will come to you, this sucks.
we move on to a different.
I didn't expect to come to the ER and have you know, my father fall and then come to the ER and now he's not talking to me when I spoke to him.
At least not like for me personally, not feeling like
Right.
space.
So,
And then kind of
it's just
feeling guilty when I
really, and I'm saying, yeah,
feeling like
did not
whatever I
expect
share
this.
was not.
And I'm sure you did
I
not.
understand that there's
expect
obviously limitations to what
talking to
someone
you
that they
now
don't know
intubated with, you know.
impact.
A lot of the focus.
I guess all with your experience.
And I know the doctors are doing the best.
I guess like doing stuff, but if you have or like that, how do you kind of like do that?
Eating stuff as well.
I feel like I definitely have been stumped sometimes. People ask questions you don't have the answers to, and I just find that being very like honest and transparent.
So
goes
it's
such a
just-
long way. Like if I don't have the answer, you know, if they're like during COVID, okay, when a bunch of people were dying and no one had ever seen anything like this, we had patients that wanted to transport their family members across to different countries. I didn't know how that was doable. I didn't know if that was possible. We've never had that before. And I was calling our student affairs and I was calling different funeral homes and I was like, can this family transport their body to, you know, a country where they want to share, you know, have an appropriate funeral service? And they would literally look at me
Everything you
like,
could get these.
you know, what's the answer? What's the expectation? And to be honest, I said, I don't know. This is unprecedented. I don't know if this is possible. I said, I've done everything I can to
Something on your behalf, you cannot come places, she can't come right away.
Probably, but I don't know the answer if that's possible. I think just being honest, people can really tell. Like I found through my experience, PCU and hospice and death and dying and everything with COVID, I think people can tell like that you're trying or that you're coming from a good place, even if you don't know what to say. I think it's okay to say, I don't have that answer, but let me look into maybe someone else with more experience has an answer, or let me get back to you. And I think
Coming and yelling, and then there's doctors coming in and out, and all sorts of things. So it's.
yeah, COVID really did a number like on all of us. And I think that's even changed the way I saw it. Like I had to deal with death virtually with a lot of people in their
And also in doing that.
sit there and call me and say, how did you feel if your dad was dying in the ICU and you couldn't come and visit because of the visitation policy? And I'd say, I would be upset myself. I would be this. I don't disagree
Main
with
job
you.
is to get enrollments for studies.
Policy,
And then you're also
you know,
trying to like balance like how much.
I think acknowledging their hurt too of like.
And also this kind of going into MRAP and staying there for like.
Going up to be. See them,
I still.
There's nothing I can say to make you feel
Like,
better. You know what I mean?
I really belong there. To the point where I think in a lot of conversations with other MRAPers, they feel the same, where like, they don't want to wear their white coat to their shifts. They would rather, you know, not wear it because they feel like necessarily they don't represent that position. This feel like see the doctors or physicians or any of them.
Rated by the patients or by other people in a way, and like ever like one like made you like emotional.
We have that big role where we like
Jaded.
kind of get past with this the last 3 months.
Yeah, we
Was when I was walking up the ramp to go to my shift and this lady
and reactions. I still remember to this day. I remember my first death till this day as an intern in the PR.
At that moment.
And it was the kid that was skateboarding, got hit by a car, and he died at like 16. It was mom. All I remember is supervisor at the time.
That was something that really helped me get past.
Don't do anything, just follow the especially and navigate
Make an impact.
until this day.
Something that's necessary to the flow of something simple.
Till this day, I hear the noise. It's been.
Everything is going on.
And,
That's what's.
I'm Sarah, by the way. One of those. Maybe just came into a traumatic story. It's okay. So anyways, I remember like this mom screaming, you know, in the ER, watching how Denise, the ER social work coworker, navigating, she did such a great job.
So,
A girl died, and I was meeting the father, and I thought I was being helpful. I was doing what I saw my report doing.
Being able
He
to.
got so upset with me. He was just like, I like talking to you
with it.
I think it was just like a change
You
of.
don't know anything about me.
Sometimes you.
You don't know my daughter.
Able to see your
And he like
other people's.
Instances where
Sometimes you sort of like sit down and quietly just understand that there's certain things you're doing in pain.
Worse.
That's
I
helping.
remember when I first did meet, I did everything he did, you know what I mean? And so what I learned through that is number one, everyone functions is different.
who had come
When
in
it
for a
comes to
motorcycle,
dying and grief,
he ran into a
there's
tree.
no like right or wrong, and everyone is entitled, like they might be going through different stages of grief, some might be in anger stage, maybe there's some transference, maybe like, I don't remember, like, maybe I reminded him of his daughter, I don't know, and so there could have been like some different things that you just remembered, like.
So I tell her, first of all, I'm harming social work, it's not about me.
And I would not tolerate the reviews, like.
Wanna let you know that
No, but I think her will be upset.
you need to come as soon as
Sounding
possible
board and
to
just
drive safe. If you cannot drive, then have someone drive you to the
I
hospital.
used to, when I first started, I informed because how do I?
Step on the line,
You know, and I'm just like, I wanna go and apologize, like, it might make him more mad. Yeah, so it's definitely happened.
And just not to get on a motorcycle, and she looks at him and she's afraid of her.
Awesome, thank you.
She's screaming bloody murder.
Talk a lot about.
She's just
Know what situations.
just, you know, devastated.
From the patient's
So I
perspective,
grab
you
her.
Yeah. What are some ways, and for you, maybe pro tips, or for you guys are also dealing with it day to day. How do you deal with that burden, that stress, that emotional after you leave the hospital, or
Take a breath.
are there things you guys do
As
that
best as
help
I
you,
can.
or is it
She'll
just,
calm down because
you know, just curious?
shit's around you, it's just like.
Sometimes for me, it's probably having like really, really stressful or traumatic situation. To think of like
Oh, this is hurting.
the like
because this is
medical
your
side
baby.
of it, and like think about outcomes and like how much of it is actually maybe attributable to something that I may have done or like something that's done by the team. I remember a couple of months ago at my work, like I remember we received like a full arrest, but it was like
There was
the kids who had cerebral palsy when they arrived.
And at this time,
Even on
breast
proper
and she's all over my
basis,
head, like,
spinal
how
deformation.
do I not be rude? But it was a.
You run some CPR and, you know, run into the ACL. But at the end of it, in the debrief, it was really helpful. The profession, it was struggled with it. I was like,
Motorcycle
as
accident.
much as we could, but like, people were like,
So
this was a patient with
once I take her
really,
outside and, you know, I just,
really complicated chronic medical history.
it's
Like,
one of the
very
things.
difficult to be able to
For the medical
go
professionals,
into
it's supposed to
this,
be all the
and
time.
that like there's downtime for
None of this.
25.
Come see the families, and it's like.
It's very almost naive to think like
To always.
maybe I
say
can
something.
make
This
this
one
work. It's like, of
where
course, it's always awesome
there's
to
a
be
man
involved.
that came where I see you
Like
and.
taking a step back and looking at the situation.
It seemed to have been.
Being able to be like,
Things and make them feel better. about the
and
disease.
like, you know.
I've learned that I went into so many times before you know resuscitation, but
Regardless,
around
even
like
if we
minute.
do everything
20,
perfectly.
family came,
There's
but
no control of.
also honoring their
these
faith, so the father wasn't able.
Sometimes when I get like difficult cases or I see that, you know, it's really helpful for me to get grounded in looking at like this.
And she just wasn't able to communicate. She wasn't in the right state. So my son was talking. So he was a school doctor. He was able to really connect. It's never cry first, never cry louder, and never cry
Interesting.
louder.
I've been into a lot of these debriefs. A lot focuses on the medical aspect of things, which I think is important to mention. Because we have done things better.
Yeah.
What do you think things went and all that stuff, but
But
I almost feel
it's because
as
it's contained,
professionals
it happens to anyone.
go easily into that space. Not as easy to
Very
talk
self.
about
And I think that's very.
the elephant in the room.
important.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Part of the.
like frickin' die.
Yeah. About yourself.
Just someone died. I mean, I remember this case where this
What
kid
upsets you?
who died was like 2 years old,
You
and
know, what makes you sad.
we had the
or-
same round table debrief, super.
Realize that
Everyone you
I
could just,
on my sleep.
this word in Sanskrit called dukkha. Dukkha means like profound grief, like you can't even, it's, grief doesn't even do it justice. It's like soul seeping. You just can't, it's choking grief.
It is the most.
And that's exactly how I felt.
hurtling
Went around the room, everyone,
cry when a parent-
trauma surgeon did this, talked about
So
this,
for me,
talked about that,
that
this,
is beyond.
it came to me and I couldn't say anything because that was the only thing I was thinking about. Was like,
Those times,
2-year-old child. I know everyone was thinking it,
I'm here for
but
you,
it's like
and then I had to
you
go away,
go into those
I'm one of these
Cry.
chaplains.
wipe myself with tears, then and then come back.
just But it's hard for me to, like talk about without getting.
Okay.
Two more.
I'm not even sure talking about it does any good to anyone else. It's all these like thoughts in my head, and even any good for me, you know. Maybe it does. Maybe.
What? And so, I mean, I think it's interesting trying to make sense.
I need to do that.
You know, it's because we were going to a terrible situation, and I don't think there's like any right or wrong way. I think for me, though, I think I'm really big at a very good running. I think it's like a
You want to
cliche,
scream?
but that's I feel like
Want to hit some
way to release stuff, and then when you can like something I worked very closely up.
Well, I tried.
Want
Want to yell at me? I don't know the person.
We would just talk afterwards, and we'd have some things like how sad it was.
Those times,
I feel like that helped us, and so, because I think medical teams, everyone were difficult, let's focus on the science here, could we have done better, and we said they like, she was.
But I also learned.
Street, you know, on the floor crying to the point of almost vomiting. It's just like, you know, I just it's crazy. And the chaplain one, we would just talk about get this heavy that stuff. So it's like, you know, my job to say even know really effectively on.
Because what I felt too is
As a
when
professional, to get invited.
someone is hearing a bad news, especially like a parent,
Or like a funeral.
or even
I didn't know how to get back.
For a patient that you work
Even
with.
without being
sometimes I just
forgetting about it.
Your grievances.
It's just so
Like, especially once you start working up in like the hospital.
Yes.
You're
move on from it because of how much they
feel like
this.
they
report out of the patient, but like.
It's definitely something
Is
that
that an inappropriate barrier to cross?
That's a really good question. I don't think I've been invited to. Yeah, it's the Carmen actually has been before, but I think, I mean, I don't know our employees have any rules. There's no like nothing stopping you from doing.
Yeah.
I think if you had a good relationship with them, it's a way to.
They don't respond to what
I know sometimes in the ICU we had patients that are over like you just knew the family, like you knew the aunt, the uncle, but you know. You built that relationship, and so I think if you have a good
one of the things that I've learned,
like it wouldn't do any
allowing them to express their grief.
Severity of injuries and
And
just
once that happens,
life changing. Oh, this is.
when I
I mean, I don't know, the ER, I feel like the whole process.
I go outside, go to the bathroom, and then
I made a discharge.
office,
You go up and.
go outside.
Or it's like that, like that SICU environment. It's like.
Because I do palliative care, so maybe
Yeah.
go to another.
Broken. So I think one way or another.
So
Yeah.
Everyone-
We're having family meetings like
Way to.
for like a year. But sometimes
Knowledge.
it's difficult in itself because it's like, sure, all these machines and all these things for their long life, but it's not the connection. You know, a lot of times it's treating the family. Life, there's a lot of medical professionals, residents, med students with a lot of difficulties too, of like, this person talked to me and said they would never call, and I'll talk to them, but the family wants to continue to keep them on the belt. You know, it just becomes a conflict too, like doing right or else like no harm, and then but you have this family that's gonna like threaten legally, so then it also changes with us. I think a lot of parents like the fear of just
thank you for being there. I'm sure.
it's also so hard
You
too.
could do
those things regularly.
There's sometimes in my day, the deaths that we this is what and they said, you know, mine was just I'm not in SNF and can, you know, do all the prayers and stuff, my family and my relatives. I read letters for people in the military to be with, you know, their family member before they die, and they've been able to get peace. Like, there's ways to find peace in something, and I think sometimes in life we don't
You make it about yourself.
some people, death is just something you don't talk about, and especially our profession is the old theme, and
You don't want
you know, if you've never experienced it anywhere in your personal life, it's really hard.
It's just, I think what I'm saying is the foundation of being a really good.
Anyone else? What do you guys do when you have a hard case or that or?
Have to share, but I know we want to give you guys, I want to give everyone an opportunity.
To chat.
Oh, thank you, Jordan. I want to give everyone an opportunity.
Yeah.
Or.
Like just saying,
Sure. Is that your guys' job? Yeah, well, yeah, it's definitely part of our job. I think that there's not a right, but.
Or take it out, teachers and families about that have been there like.
Sometimes we watch to see, you know,
Try to face
other patients and
Yeah.
For me, it was a little
So
different.
I know that
I have.
how you were in your emotional as well, like when you're emotionally in your sleep, and I also really feel like I'm like that. So like sometimes what sticks with me most of the time are like cases that just like involve visitors are like super emotional, like sometimes I really I think it's like that really helps.
Because
I was kind of curious,
sometimes people are
how-
in a
how you,
point
like,
where they're
the
talking
whole-
so.
It's just respect
or they're ready to.
Wow.
But I don't think it's ever
Trivial.
said we're wrong to.
It was a very
Have
different
a shower, there's like people.
So that's why it's really
And I
good to
think
have
that's good if.
like, for example, with me,
There's a lot of
I have
time
my
we have to learn to
coworkers,
sit in
my
that
social work.
space.
because no one understands hospital social work like my coworkers. So I've done it where, especially when I've had it's a very emotional case. There's cases where I've just gone to my worker's office
My role
and I'm
is,
like,
I don't.
can I just sit here and cry? I just
Double
can't be
major.
alone. I don't want to be, I don't want to be in my house. Maybe it's a case.
But instead of holding on to what
And
we
I,
had.
so I say, is it okay?
Bad timing, bad timing.
They've allowed us just to be
More
there
power.
But that's.
without.
That's really good.
And then they turn around and like, how you doing? I'm like, okay.
They're ready, you know,
And I talk
and
to you
so,
about, sure.
yeah, it's a
And
there's a
little.
book by
That's why I'm
Cucino.
able to speak here because I do not want to.
He's a famous basketball
First started,
coach.
because
And
it was trauma, you know, all of the drama.
I was lost, I don't remember who he
You know,
was in his
everything.
family, but he talked a little bit about changing that loss and
And they were traumatized by what I told them.
the why
And I
he
was like,
or like, well, you know, what, you know, feeling that grief for himself, but he's
So
channeled
I've
that
learned that.
energy to trying to give back to others in any way, shape or way. And he writes about it and saying that actually helped him
It's a lot.
heal.
I say this every day.
To
So
not
it's
just
really
think about himself, or think about himself, but more in a way that made him feel better, I guess, by giving to others. So it's easier said than done. I think everyone's in a different space. It's part of something that you mentioned that talked about how you went back and appreciated your mother, and that's
In your shoes, like,
definitely
oh my God, I
something that this one
this patient.
famous basketball coach.
It's not a safe space. And there's been moments where I get lips and I'm like, with this film, this.
Because everyone
You know?
seems like, I know you guys have been in Park City Park for
That
a
way I
while. Have
have
you
someone else to
seen?
know my voice and acknowledge my feelings and that.
I-
in the future, but
Yeah.
When.
I have
And
my
there's
right to my
no-
feelings. And but it's okay to share those feelings without feeling judged.
When there's no.
And I think that's why it's important to have that open.
For the people
share.
that just came here, there's some guided questions on the board.
Understand you and know who,
Very, very
because they
good.
can.
See what shared.
Hear you without judgment.
Yeah, I feel like the most
I just need you to listen. to
touching
me.
or like toughest cases that I usually interact with are not
And that
ones
space where I
that
can cry,
are pertaining
say
to
what I
like
need
some
to say.
sort of like critical condition, but are interwoven with like some sort of like societal issue.
But it's also
Sort of like
find what makes.
Assuring.
problem. Like I think
Find whatever.
2 years that I've been interacting with ERs, like there's only
When
been
they share with
I remember.
what they
I
share.
make sure I put some sunshine.
wasn't because
Then
walk
you'll
outside
find
At least for
out
15,
is
20
that
minutes.
that's it's more so like an interaction.
Hospital, in hospital air, in that.
You were
have to
describing like
Like, I need a break.
really young,
Say
like
more.
16-year-old boy who was like
Whatever situation
serious child abuse, and like those ones are
You'll see
there's
them.
families, especially like when I see
And
those
it's
because
just not.
even such a young age, like
Small, like it's
in
good.
my opinion, like there's nothing that like
So you need to
7-year-old
find
that can want, you know, some of like the
Find
biggest things that you're being caring of yourself, you report. So
You know, that's
you try your best to treat them with dignity. You understand that there's kind of like
You interpret.
with regard to like
Quote or a song or
the way
something.
that you can
To
communicate.
just walk in the hallway in a room and just listen to that.
You still you understand that there's
With them in that space.
I was still fairly new in middle school because I was working out.
You're,
But I was really scared to go in there and like open their out and get like a new set of items. But I went in and the boy was so sweet. We were laughing it up, and like I always remember like
Still happens.
most of the ER rooms were like bare. We're supposed to be able to flip these.
Also acknowledge.
Like get patients in count, question, but I'll never forget like going in and it just looked like a bedroom.
Yeah.
Like there were like toys like all over the floor, and there was like sandwiches and juice boxes, and a little bit of a stand, and there was cartoons playing in the corner. And it's
First
like
time like
going in there, and it's like, oh my gosh, like how would anybody like do this? Yeah, I remember. First ended up in Kirk. Well, I wanted to ask Alden from there in ER, and it's like, I wanted to thank you for the juice that you made me. It was so good, very well. I remember going and maybe shoe leaning, and I saw that like he left the drawing. Well, it's like a little far. I made accepted this thing, but like I remember getting off my shift the next morning. It's like 8 in the morning. I'm like sitting in my car, like work instruction, just like I'm like, oh my god, like the variety in life that people
even in those spaces, the reality.
how would like this be warranted? Like, there's no way that this should be happening.
Yeah, there's definitely situations
I
where.
remember I was talking to like the resident and the attending that was there. I was like, what do you do in this instance? Like, you know that like you're definitely going to be remembered in some regards. Like, it's not necessarily like, oh, that's Tyler that did that. But like, I remember the kind dude with like the bear beanie that helped me out when I was at the ER. And so they were really instrumental in giving me some like guidance on how to like handle it or like how to process it. It's like
I would never
look at it more so it's like you had like the privilege and the opportunity to be able to like have this positive impact on a patient who's seen nothing but negative for a lot of life. And so like that's a really powerful thing to be able to go home with. So I feel like for me a lot of the most difficult cases are the ones where it's like just bad things happen that like don't really deserve it. Not that anybody deserves bad things happen. Especially in anytime I see like the suspected child abuse or neglect come into the ER, it's just like those are the things that it's cure. It's just one of those things that's really hard to like.
Yeah.
Like the remember years ago, maybe you guys remember Eddie, like the trauma tech who's retired recently.
Yeah.
So we had this, it was Thanksgiving year where it was like maybe Thanksgiving, right? Yeah. Had a patient, it was a homeless patient.
Whatever gives them meaning, whatever their practice.
Just wounded, just covered with maggots.
Whether that.
He and I took him to the decontamination room. And he
We're addressing.
cleaned him up. And we took all the maggots out and cleaned him up. And whatever we could do, you know, recharge.
Got it.
Obviously, like you said, there's a lot around how we ended up homeless. There was mental health
And to
but
allow them to
oh, night shift, and I went from K to she made things pumpkins,
But also
facing
understanding
pecan, candy, pancakes.
if you're unable to,
And there's like
we also have to
spiritual
reaching out.
smell. And I'm
Because
being
especially when so many get people out
there's
of
there's
town,
a sense of distance.
documented and
No, just
Is that they've been
had a
following
severe accident,
uh,
tree or
just
car accident.
about maggots
How
in
ladder-
a person.
how-
Now I'm eating
all of now
those
that's-
fancy pancakes. Like, what the hell is going on here? And it so happenstance, to be honest with you, that I'm in this
So it's
position.
really.
For me, I think.
No, okay.
I could be anyone, like I could be in India carrying water 4 miles. Or, you know, I don't know anywhere. And it's just like, why am I here? Where are you from? How am I here? It's just like random.
There's.
Yeah, you could say I worked hard. Yeah, of course I worked hard. You could say, you know, I had good parents.
Figure out that,
Like for me, I couldn't like wrap my brain around it.
That's not.
or you know.
But still
talk to the
thankful
social-
for
they
where
don't
I
make-
was in my life and who I had around me. Just
Or, you know, food insecurity.
Just feel so
Let's
warm.
go now, obviously.
Very, and I think
Fulfilled whenever.
in some ways that's why I chose emergency medicine, because
That's,
you just.
that's one of my phrases I always say.
That's probably one of the biggest
You
things.
know, we're all
That's
human,
not
you know,
okay.
just
You always want to ask permission in a way.
Not
Is it okay?
I mean, like, I have. Like, they're the smartest effing people in that school, and it's like. Like, you could be. You know, like you could be so much. Anyways, that's.
Think of the Neutrogena, think of the little.
No, look. And the life sounds amazing. It's beautiful.
It's great.
Just, yeah.
You only stress.
Okay.
What's like one way you de-stress after your shift? Because it can be like a really hard,
Is it okay?
it could just be a really hard career to go into. Because in the careers, so many bad things happen
But I think.
again and again and again throughout shift, week on week. So I think it's really important to kind of deal with these stresses because they kind of build on top of each
You,
other.
I think, could be the kids way of saying like,
I think,
you impacted me. It's like,
well, as I did,
to like not even tell you they're doing it and do it and leave for you so you can find it and. And then sometimes it's hard for people that are used to
Breadwinner 99% ways.
things that I liked.
It's super special. Like I really like. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, no, I feel like it's a really good source of like reaffirmation, like, you know, for me to go into an ER and see like, this is the impact. Right?
Yeah.
I'll care for somebody or something that's really complex, you know, it's like,
It helps me
like centered, like being able to like have a positive impact of like patients and
A lot of
making that
patients also hate.
immediate change.
So always,
I can see the allure.
you
Yeah.
know, and I'm that way, so I always.
Talk to our patients and little things like cleaning out like homelessness and sometimes my homeless patients are just like, I'm just so sorry, I'm nice, like, you know, like.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, of course, like, thanks for talking to me like a human, and I'm just like, talks to you like a human, but yeah, it's just talking to you how you talk to you, you know, and you just don't realize you do it, and also
Like I was brought up to
that it makes such a difference, like,
Miss Joyce.
we're one provider to that, I know we see a bunch of patients, they remember us
However they want to be called.
very differently than maybe we remember them.
Cases that you see throughout.
being able to put
And it
things.
is weird. I feel like working in the ER has made me so thankful, even in the setting, just
Find a way
thankful
to
for life.
release.
It's just like my heart is very different than most people's. You know, it's just changed my perspective on life.
Right now,
Sometimes I hear people complaining about things. It's fun. Like in my personal life, I'm just like, good, you know, like
I also.
they're valid and everything, but I'm just like, I just watched someone.
Finding a way.
You know what I mean? It's just hard to like.
Don't know.
That happens in the ER too, you know? You just feel like, wow, this person, their family is going through some serious stuff, and this other person is,
We have to be very careful.
I don't know, just, they don't realize what's happening next door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you, if you just knew what was happening next door, maybe you wouldn't be treating everyone like this, you know? And they're, you know, maybe they have some reasons behind it, you know, they're upset, they're
Because I need to.
waited a long time, they, whatever it might be, pain.
Okay. So
Sometimes
one
our
question right now, we just went through one.
Then also-
houses would seem a lot more catastrophic or, you know.
From your time as aspect, something that.
That's something I'm working on. Like
They want.
I feel like to me, it's like having cosmic justice. If someone's- I just feel like I am the adjudicator of making things right, and it's probably not necessary.
More happy.
Somehow it makes me feel
Spiritual.
this way.
So we were talking about like different experiences can be like some of the topics were.
That's one of the nice things about this.
The
Really, it's like the question when I say ED talk.
Interpreter.
I think it's definitely number one thing.
It's in there.
Empath, the kind of shit, wires that we were able to put ourselves in
with their language.
whatever side patient, right?
Information.
Process
Some patients
Much faster. and
Think,
easier.
one
Give you that
also
information.
like.
worse, but
And then-
they're kind of perceiving it in a certain way. That's just so
and that you're not-
difficult. I think that's just one thing
There's
that
been times where that's.
I'm grateful for in the emergency department is just that it's like requiring that patient
Most physicians like
that kind of empathy with
children because they
being able to switch between different people's minds in a sense, you know, it's like
and I also
opening
thought
after the emergency department
patient or
to like, I think just one. You know, other.
they have so much knowledge that they told me.
Whatever happened.
So,
In there.
Perplexed.
yeah, please go ahead.
It's also.
An action against it, I haven't been able to address whether it be like
The numbers are actually.
or just in general in our world.
Getting the right information.
The patient that I think about the most was she was a homeless patient. And she was homeless and she was in the waiting room. And it wasn't anything too suspecting, but I
Whatever, even the
and then I
smallest-
brought her back, really brought her back because had I done the whole homelessness survey that we do with our patients
You're not alone.
in the waiting room, it would have been difficult. And we got through the survey, but it got really hard because she was a domestic violence patient who had experienced domestic violence, and so that's why she attributes to her experiences to why she ended up in the emergency department, or not in the emergency department, in the
You're so very
homelessness situation.
To call me.
And so when times got tough, I pulled out one of our classic stickers. It's just like a small sticker, right? But
Glad to share that with.
to see like
To like actually
Usually
sitting
you
there.
don't know how you feel about something, you go
these
through it.
worries, these struggles,
You never
it
know.
didn't matter to me in that moment whether or not she was a 30-year-old homeless or if she was an 8-year-old kid who I also get these stickers to.
But one of the things too is.
And that's what's helped me kind of develop that perspective of realizing like
Hard case.
not that much different from
I've also relied on
not that much different.
chaplains. I've gone to them, especially during COVID.
Had to
The beginning or.
the kid that's not.
PTSD.
And so
But the
it's hard, I think,
chaplain
carrying that empathy because obviously we have to
has-
be able to help.
Coming together.
Which is fun.
Medical center, and then going outside in the world.
A lot. But the big thing was that I haven't done anything to like really address domestic violence, but you know, that's just like one of the things that just kind of bothers me, I guess.
So being able to, vent.
Sharing.
You are in it.
The sticker is cool.
It's not bad, it's neat, but yeah, it's just one.
Can I ask you a question?
Like being able to solve everything, right? Basically that, I don't know that's what like essentially the grand educator, you know, like I can't address everything.
It did happen like a little bit after too. Even now. when
I think it's hard too when we see so many different things. Sexual assault, child abuse, adult protective services, like all these different things and you want to see.
We were there, there's also.
And then you have all these other things like your supervisor's like, why have you not seen more patients and why have you not done these things? And like, because I actually care about my patients and then I sit there and there's someone that's
Me, I
not
think
abused or domestic violence, like
Give to yourself.
to
Yeah.
get to know
See all these things.
appropriate roles.
Makes you go down that road.
Language barriers.
Said last week.
An interpreter to call and make sure you get somewhere safely. Maybe there is
Yeah. it's really-
nearby, so it's like sometimes the world and like the
For a while,
system and what they expect, it's like
People,
these are complex things. These are not just
possibilities kind of are there in your mind.
human trafficking case. This is a sexual assault case. So give them the respect and dignity of like what a consult like that looks like, and to not just be expected to be a mission. Also be prepared. The next person, okay, on to the next abuse. Like it, I have to I have to like
If you had.
step out and just give myself a minute and
Like have those really
or something and just not talk.
issues.
And you can't solve everything. And so my philosophy is when I see those patients, I give them 110%. I do everything I can possibly in that moment. I'm not going to fix everything and I roll into next shift and still a patient. And it might not be the outcome I want, but for that hour or 2 hours, whatever I spent, you better believe I advocated 115%.
Feel like just giving you
I could do.
more, more tools.
As we back off that, I feel like the ED is like the land of first It's like the way that you first introduce yourself to a patient or like the way that
Yeah, I'm just trying to
insert yourself into like some sort of critical scenario is like the most important thing. And so I feel like that's the one lesson that I've taken away. It's actually like kind of similar to Marco, like instead of like stickers, like for me, I carry a little lines. Like when I'm helping helping out to triage. There's like an 18-month-old that's like crying.
Because we deal with the, I mean, I have.
Yeah, no. Yeah. It's like, you hand him the line, and it's like looking at it, and all of a sudden blood pressure can be.
And I love that.
You know, get blood rates for the SpO2, and all of a sudden the heart rate's down from 210 to 140.
I'm here.
Okay, let's take a takeaway, right? Like we all need one thing to just de-escalate any situation. You have
Yeah, like one of my favorite doctors that I love to watch is Dr. named Dr. Brindis. Regardless of like the age of the patient, if it's like an adult that comes in, the first thing that he always does is like a coin trick. So like he pulls the coin out. It could be like a position like
But that's what we.
terrible happy, and it's like a little faint smile. I understand it now. Like I see your sauce, Dr. B. But I can see like, the impact of it. So I feel like if there's anything that I've learned or like picked up, it's just like you got to be really good at like, making that initial intro. It's got to be something that provides some solace or like some comfort.
It's so
Like,
nice for me because I have people too that
should we? I don't know. Of course, like I feel like we still kind of have like a really naive view, just given that really early in the process. I don't know if it's different for you, Dr. BC. Being like it's something like
My experience.
I think you guys it's all about growth and experience. I think I'm a product of all the experiences that I've had, and I agree with Sarah. Sometimes we feel like we're a cog in the wheel, like we have to come on, because that's part of the mission of the setting that we're in, which is try to help as many people as we possibly can. And so, but we gotta also understand we're a piece of the puzzle,
Figure out
the whole puzzle.
for you to tell this,
So,
for you to say.
I thought sometimes like there are things that are very frustrating.
Sure.
But maybe necessary, right? Like I'm measured by how many patients per hour that I see. We keep all sorts of weird metrics, which is the economics of medicine. And then the way I justify it is if we don't do that, then we can't keep the lights open. Lights on, let's keep the doors open. And that means it means we might go on diversion. And if we go on diversion, I mean, I'm a little cocky, but I think UCI gives one of the best cares around here. You know, like if I had a family member who was really sick, I would rather come here than some of the other local. Yeah. Being on diversion means I have to work hard or work efficiently to get people disciplined and I hand them a cup of urine before they leave triage. Is it my responsibility to hand them a cup of urine? I don't know. Probably not. Like most hospital systems, you probably won't see doctors changing out the triage, that what you call the plastic sheet. But I'm just like, yes, that's that happens. So yeah, but I fight it too. Yeah. So we're
Their support system.
yeah, it's time.
So sorry.
Just.
Thank you so much. Oh, you do? Oh, yeah, we still.
I do have a list of things that, but I also know that.
Okay. Thank you so much. Sarah, Carmen, and Ron.
That was. Can I give you a quick round of applause?
Really grateful. Thank you so much.
Thanks for like oh yeah, of course, anytime. I hope like rappers, you guys are able to like ask questions too and just like kind of like reflect, I guess, like during the next couple shifts and like hopefully you're able to like utilize some of the resources and kind of like tips and tricks that Sarah, Rocky, and Carmen. Just have cards real quick.
Yeah. We're just in this spot because like we of course want to respect your guys' time.
Yeah.
And so we didn't want to extend past 5 p.m. But yeah, it means Is everyone's conversations all right? Everyone's. Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, guys.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. I'm representing you guys to actually help reset the table real quick. And what you help 5 minutes. Thank you. You're just
Are you guys in the dock office?
Yeah.
You are, right? Yeah.
Say hi. Thank you so much. Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Well, this numbers are gonna be a poverty franchise, dude.
Did you get traded?
Cleveland is looking like let me see.
Like officially?
I turned on notifications from Jan, but I haven't seen anything. Maybe James Harden. He talks right now.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
You're saying like, who wants from LeBron? Does it sound? It is.
Needs to retire.
LeBron is like, LeBron will go for like 20 and 8, but it'd be expensive to win. You know what I mean? Like if LeBron has a good game, limited like
Okay, I don't have a microphone today.
it's Loki just like
It's
like so ball. Oh, those tacos look bad.
We'll take up like 5 max 10 minutes of your time and then.
Yeah. Nice shoes. They do.
Wow, we had some wonderful winter breaks. You wish to indulge in where these tacos are from?
Place burned down. Doesn't exist.
I think he had to leave for class.
Oh.
Audrey, these dogs is.
I love Ollie. She's wearing a sweater.
So cute. Did you stitch that together or you spun it?
My dad buys clothes, so I think that's, yeah.
Joseph Reyes, what was going on here?
I just saw UCI take a massive W over Cal State Fullerton. It was a great game.
W's. Oh shoot. Yeah, if you have. Or else Audrey will personally text you. Personally text you to reach out. You don't want to force her to reach out to you. Let him know. Let him know if you're able to make it. I'm joking. I forgot to put up the slide of us winning, but we won last year. Yeah. Brandon. Audrey had aces in a row. Not even joking. Monica with a game-ending ace to finish it off. Definitely come out to our game tonight. You want?
9:30, guys.
We'll watch our games. We post them on the Google Photos. It's so interesting, but perhaps there's a video coming out soon. Perhaps there is. Good. Selection committee app reviews are due next Tuesday. We're very excited for you guys to look at these wonderful applications. So So
Luke, do
great.
you want to talk?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, we'll send out an email. We made a video. It's only 3 minutes. More for the newbies since the vets have done it before. And yeah, just have it try to do like 2 to 3 per day and you'll be good to go.
I would say try to read the application. I know it could be a lot, like to read, but kind of just take it like a couple a day and kind of treat the application as if like, how would you want someone to view this as if it were your application, kind of like that. So we like color coded it and everything for you guys. So hopefully that helps, but academics will be sending it out tonight and it's due by next week's meeting. So that's where we'll go through all of them together. And go from there. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah.
Brian, did they also include their videos they submitted, or is that just you guys reviewing?
No, but you guys might see them a little later
Okay.
down the process. Maybe.
Mhm.
We'll see.
Maybe.
Thank you for asking.
On this right now, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not us right now.
Okay.
Wait, what? Is it MRAP related?
No.
Oh.
Yes.
All right, any more questions before we move on? Okay.
First liaisonship in like months. Can we get a drum roll, please? It's up. Intro. Good luck with that. Enjoys great study, I think.
Thank you.
Firearms.
No, my bonus is great. Like she's so responsible. When I work with her, like she's like constantly emailing us about and stuff. So you'll be fine.
Yeah, enjoy that. Oops, it animated again. Yeah, the Dr. Dakota opportunity is still open. No one applied, so if you guys do want to take it, you can extend the application again. But if you guys are so interested,
Can I say one more thing?
Please.
For the newbies that trickled in a little late, please apply to the editorial liaisonship for WestGem. I can talk a little more with you guys later, but it's a really good opportunity. It might lead to like employment post-graduation, maybe. That's up to Dr. Lapaport, but it's a really good opportunity and it's only like max 3 hours per week and you get 1 unit. So it's pretty easy.
it's hard to stress how good this Western opportunity is. It's like a part-time opportunity. If you get a position post-grad, it's number one, it's remote, so you get to work from home. You basically make your own hours in a sense, is from what I've kind of noticed. It's super, super flexible for a part-time position, so highly recommend.
Yeah, it's really like, please apply. And you have until next Sunday, the 15th. So
Oh, publishing is this Sunday though.
that's publishing for those who are graduating. So
The next regret.
yes.
All right.
Questions right now? We'll start with the slides too. So,
Numbers.
academics,
Oh, wait,
she's
she want me to-
out. I think she's out.
I don't think she's on, but
It's okay.
you guys have been doing awesome. Success round of applause.
Let's go.
Everyone's doing amazing. Do you want to talk about that?
Honestly, I didn't make this graph. I'm not smart enough to do that. But I think you guys got your random numbers, right? No?
No.
Oh, maybe you were
It's
crazy.
the same one.
Sorry, miscommunication.
I'm pretty sure I'm
I'm number.
We're all and then we can.
Also, if you're on the lower end, the numbers are a little skewed. We had a lot of trouble calculating it. So that's not really representative. Everyone was around like here, which is really good. So just because you're down, that's not 100% true, right? It's like it's AI. So you guys did very well, like much
Or, like,
better than
yeah.
yeah.
Do you guys want to know who the top three were or no?
Like actually, I was curious just now because you guys didn't get your like just a poll. So like you didn't get your numbers this time. You got them last time. Would you guys feel better if we did this for like this quarter, next quarter, without getting you guys your numbers and you just see like the trend, or would you guys prefer to get your numbers? If that was right. Everyone's overriding this.
Let's I know, this
Boys, who's got the trend on me?
If you guys are curious about your own number, feel free to text us and then we'll let you.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah? Okay, awesome. Great.
Perfect.
No, I want to make sure you guys feel comfortable because I know it can be like weird or uncomfortable sometimes, just in general, just like when people like put up stats and stuff. So we just want to make sure that we respect that.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah, reach out to us if you want to know, but we want to explain this.
There's two. I'm just kidding. It's two guys. Yeah, so this is, Krisha explained it to me, like, she made the graphs, you were working at double, you get like 100% of the points. The other one was only you get like 50%, so you split with your partner. So this is if you got like 100, so we got 10, if we both got 10 on shift, we both would get 10. But the first graph was like, if we both got 10, we get 5 and 5. Even though me probably would do more of the work.
I think we just, the first one is the solo shifting average.
My bad,
Guys,
that's right.
second one,
Yeah, but yeah, the numbers are still really good. I mean, you guys are around where we want you guys, so overall, good job.
Yeah.
Good job, guys.
Great job, guys.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
Don't put it, see, I did not do well in second, so.
Yeah. It's okay. No, I think we're good for today. Does anyone have any pressing study updates that they want to discuss? Yeah, Monica.
For risk fracture, please